Broadcasting from New York, upstate near the Great Lakes, it's Lighting the Void. And I'm your host, Joe Root, and we're live on the Fringe FM, KTLK Digital Broadcasting. It is April the 14th, 2021. I love saying the date. It's April the 14th on into the 15th. It's midnight here on the East Coast, 9 p.m. Pacific on the West Coast. We're always live and raw right here on Lighting the Void, right here on Fringe.fm. The network website, indeed, is Fringe.fm. The website for the show is lightingthevoid.com. I think I need to change that to like LTV radio or something because I've been on some podcasts and stuff, and they call it Lightning the Void. Really special, warm shout out to happy birthday to Amanda, aka Amandala. Happy birthday to you. A lot of Aries birthdays this month, and all of them are really special people. It's kind of crazy. And like Dan, Amanda, me, I know there's a couple more Aries too I'm forgetting, and it's all the kind of probably the most special people in my life are Aries. It's weird. But we did a show on Aries with the new moon with Mary, so I'll get those archives up soon too. If you want to support the show, you go to lightingthevoid.com. Make sure you click on the donate button or buy some swag or grab an altar box. 1 second here. I got a little technical glitch. So tonight we're going to have a very special guest, Ethan Indigo Smith. And he's going to come on here at the bottom of the hour. And some of the topics that we're going to be talking about tonight is the evolution of our own consciousness that we're here to work on. In fact, I was watching a couple of YouTube videos today about how we actually came here during this time to work on our own consciousness, to work on who we are. Like, this is a big time to be alive for people that are spiritual. And I got to tell you, man, 2019 up until this point has felt like nothing but a spiritual ass kicking. I could say for the most part, but that's usually when we do a lot of growing. Unfortunately, sometimes a lot of things get jacked up during that period too, you know, but so some of the stuff that we talk about is the evolution of our own consciousness what we're here to work on? Is that why we're alive? Is that why we came here? I often think about that. I think sometimes that we came here to just experience what we are. Like, maybe we're just God in the flesh trying to figure out what we are, and who knows, right? Or it could just be a pleasure cruise, or it could just be, it's definitely not a pleasure cruise, right? But it could just be some kind of weird simulation. And if you're a hermeticist, and you hear a lot of people say this too, especially metaphysicians, is our outer world a projection of our inner state of being? Sorry, I keep choking on my drink. And did cultures of our past have a true understanding of the subtle yet complex interweaving energies of our reality today? Interweaving energies of our reality. There are so many different kinds of fields and frequencies and energies and patterns and things that we don't see that's going on, that's controlling our reality too. I mean, if we could see all this stuff on a grid, all the way down to the frequencies, all the way down to the geometrical shapes that hold things together, the patterns. And I mean, if we could just see all that with our own eyes, it would look like a crazy acid trip, right? You should look at pictures of that, like Alex Gray and stuff. I think, for as long as we've been doing this void walking stuff, what I have kind of figured out is that number and geometry are pretty much running this place. I mean, if there was a code, if this was a simulation and there was a code, it would have everything to do with number, the power of number, and its relation to geometry. There's so many things that we don't understand. And sometimes I wonder, do we spend most of our time as void walkers, as people that are exploring consciousness? How much time do we waste? And I don't mean waste in a bad way, but trying to figure out why we're here instead of just experiencing being here. Now, you remember yesterday I was trying to explain this. I couldn't get around to explaining it, but I was trying to explain that a lot of people I've talked to here lately have some kind of calling that they're trying to come to. They're trying to figure out what to do, and they're having big changes in their life, and they feel alone, misunderstood, or even don't even know what they feel. They just know they want something to change. I had that conversation with Chuck the other day too. And it doesn't matter what position you're in, how successful you are, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your status quo. Everybody I've talked to has this energy going on, for the most part. Even the people, like when we had Mary call in, right? Or when Mary did the call-in show, even people that have spiritually ascended to fill their heart and they feel like they've spiritually ascended to a certain level, they can't explain the next thing that needs to happen. So there is a very, very big energetic force of change that's happening, like on the precipice right now. I'm not saying it's happening to everybody, but what I am telling you is based on the astrology that I'm looking at and based on the people that are talking to me and this broadcast, yeah, it's happening. So when those people come to me and ask me, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I mean? I tell them, sure, I know what it feels like. And after a while, you start getting to this point where it's not even about your destiny anymore. You just want that feeling of change, like to be fulfilled one way or the other, right? And so what I always say is, and I said, like I said yesterday, try to get in the moment as much as possible. Think about what you would do if you only had a few days to live or a month. What would you really like to do? And just do it. Just go start doing it. I know it's not easy for everybody, and I get it's easy to say because you got daily stuff to take care of. But I can tell you that I'm a living example of how spirit and community can get you places in your life. How love and kindness and the good things about people can get you places in your life. How faith alone, when you don't understand stuff, when you don't know what to do, can get you somewhere if you just let go and do it. Now, it's a lot better if you have a plan, right? So that's what we're talking about tonight. It's good to evolve your consciousness and grow, and I think you should always do that. But what I'm learning too is we got to be careful about growing, and we should definitely be responsible about it because of, a lot of that growth you can really mess some stuff up along the way. It gets a little chaotic in that alchemical lab. You got to learn to let that go too, though, I think. And I tried that whole, to the second question I tried that whole, well, if I feel bad on the inside, I'll change my exterior world, right? And it does, it helps you get in the moment, but it doesn't quite change how you feel on the inside, but definitely works the other way around for me. If you can change how you feel on the inside, then your outside world starts feeling better. So it's, I guess to me, it's not a set rule. It doesn't seem that way, not for everybody. Some people like to focus on their outside world, and the internal people like to call those people superficial. But if it makes them happy, I think we should let them be. And those exterior people that go that route, and, you know, they like to call the internal people. I mean, those people have been called all kinds of names, right? Hermits, losers, even. Who knows? You know, those people. I think you should let them be. We're all trying to grow right now. That's for sure. I guess what I'm saying is I really wish you guys knew how many people reach out to me on a constant basis daily. And some of you are, I can't really name any names, but you know, a person that listens to the show who's a very sweet person was messaging me on Facebook, and I kind of got on to him during the show a little bit, right? And I said, hey, you know, get in the chat room or call or something, because that thing keeps going off, and I can't, and I mean, it was just going off and off and off. And I thought that I said that in a very sweet way, I thought I said it nicely, and still yet they got hurt over what I said. But you know what kind of people listen to this broadcast? It amazes me sometimes, because they emailed me back and they said, you know what? I got a little upset. And I'm not going to say like verbatim what they said. I got a little upset at what you said, but you were just explaining something and I acted childish, and I'm sorry. And I just wanted to let you know that. So, and then they resent me a friend request on Facebook. Those are the kind of people that listen to the show. People that are conscious. People that are willing to make a mistake and own up to it. I think it's a beautiful thing, actually. It sounds so simple, but that's what consciousness is, right? So, you know who you are if you're listening. You inspired me by doing that, by the way, because you did it instantly. And thank you for listening. So, again, is our outer world a projection of our inner state of being? I say it is. I believe that everything that's happening right now in this reality, including COVID-19 and every bad thing that people point their finger at, is a direct result of how we believe on the inside about ourselves and this planet, and our actions based upon those beliefs. I know magic is scary, but that Magician's Tarot card says it all. It is the manifestation of everything. It's like the whole picture of nature in that tarot card, how it works. I have a thought. I have emotions, but I'm not my thoughts and I'm not my emotions, but I do have them. I have a will and I have desires, but I'm not my thoughts, emotions, or desires, or my will, but I have them. And I have a body and physical stuff. I'm not those things, but I have them. If we can learn how to like put all that stuff in the right order, we can do a whole hell of a lot. And anybody that's practiced any of this real stuff, manifestation, whether it's Western ceremonial magic or whether it's this new age stuff that we have now that's mixed with quantum physics, Dispenza, that stuff, that's like evolved magic, man. It's all the same stuff. I personally am old school, so I like playing with the old school stuff, but it all works the same. So what I'm not saying we don't like to complain about things here on the show. We do sometimes, but man, wouldn't it be nice if everybody started realizing that? Not just, 100 or 200,000 people, but I mean, what if everybody started realizing, holy crap, we're creating this, like, metaphysically, that is. I mean, it sucks to think about, right? Because you think about how easy that would change everything if we understood consciousness the way some of us understand it. It sucks to think about that, that whole money thing. People say, well, if you took all the richest people in the world and divided the money up, everybody would be multimillionaires. It sucks to think about. We wouldn't have an economy, but it'd be fun for a little bit, right? It sucks to think about those things. It sucks to think about, like, if everybody stopped buying products from, Monsanto and stuff for one day, they would lose so much money. They'd be out of power. Or if everybody just stopped using Facebook for one day, right? Well, I think while we're focused on why the collective conscious and the collective people aren't realizing this, time is just slowly ticking by in your individual life. And I would ask you this. Are you doing those things? Are you being that way? Because I wonder if it works on a different level. I wonder if you as an individual and me as an individual, instead of worrying about what everybody else is doing, if we start changing who we are and what we do, maybe in some weird way we'd wake up the next day and society would start acting different. Maybe we're in some kind of weird, this is a shower thought, a Void Walker shower thought. Maybe we're in some kind of weird place that, based on how we feel and think, Maureen St. Germain, by the way, kind of talked about this. We go to sleep and we plug in and then we wake up. And based on how we acted, based on our thoughts, actions, words, emotions, all that stuff I told you about, based on our manifestations of the day before, is the world that we're going to wake up into the next day. We could literally just wake up in different worlds every day and not know it. What if what we call choice is far more powerful than you could ever imagine? And we just think it's just something we do day in and day out, 1,000 times a day. But it's constantly changing our timeline second by second by second. If you want to join the chat room, you can go to fringe.fm/chat room. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. Rohan, my brother, the mighty, mighty Rohan, Jess Rogie, Kat, Don, Teresa, Allie, Brent, Vic, who am I missing? The Night Stalker, Jody, Dream Girl, Rachel. I hope I said everybody's name. If I left you out, I'm sorry. I love all of you guys. All right. So we're going to grab our guest and we'll be right back. Ethan Indigo Smith is going to be on. More Lighting the Void coming up. Stay with us.
Fringe FM listeners, did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
Want to know what's on the Fringe FM? Check out our schedule at thefringe.fm.
Hola, Fringe listeners. This is Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
This is Malorcas45, fan of The Fringe FM, challenging everyone to open their mind's eye. Listen to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop to gain precision for your third eye vision.
My name is Jake. I'm from Billings, Montana, and I am a void walker.
Hey, Joe Roop. Thanks for lighting the void. This is Janine in the bluegrass of Kentucky, and I am a void walker.
What's up, guys? This is Damien from San Marcos, Texas, and I'm a void walker. I listen to the show to keep myself aligned with the world.
Hi, this is Laura, aka Laura Lavender. I'm from Las Vegas, and I listen to Lighting the Void because it helps me understand some of the strangest experiences I've had. So thanks for all that you do and for always being there for us, Joe.
Hi, this is Kronox from Belgium, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
Hey, this is country music singer and void walker Jason Benoit, and when I need my fix on the world of magic and the capabilities of the human consciousness, I listen to Joe Roop right here on Lighting the Void Radio.
Born out of the alchemical tradition of Paracelsus is a medical tradition called Spagyria. Though not many people practice this work today, Phoenix Aurelius has been researching and teaching this work for the last 15 years, and he needs your support.
Hi, I'm Phoenix Aurelius, and I'm the founder of the Phoenix Aurelius Research Society, where I perform modern scientific research on the methods and techniques of Paracelsian alchemy and spagyria for health, wellness, agriculture, ecology, and more. All my work is 100% funded by the public, so if you like what I'm doing and you want to support my research, please consider making a purchase of spagyric medicines from my apothecary, fund your own spagyric IDF wellness research, or participate in my group study or one-on-one immersion courses so that you can learn how to perform this work for yourself. I want to thank you in advance for your support.
Visit thefringe.fm/alchemy research and enter coupon code FRINGE and receive 15% off anything and everything on the website. That's thefringe.fm/alchemy research. And thank you for doing your part and keeping alchemy alive in the modern day. Welcome back to Lighting the Void. Our guest is here with us, thank you for listening live. We're going to open up the phones here in a little bit, but I think this conversation is going to get pretty deep. Yeah, this is like one of our favorite subjects to talk about. Sorry, I'm going to fade this down here. So Ethan Indigo Smith is here with us, and this is the first time he's been on the broadcast, and he is an esoteric and metaphysical researcher and is the author of The Geometry of Energy, The Tao of Thoth, and The Matrix of Four. And all of Ethan's writings, no matter if it's philosophy or satire, are focused on enhancing consciousness, and he writes towards a peaceful world with a sharp and unique perspective. And I think that is amazing, man. Like, you're writing about all the stuff I love, and thanks for coming on the broadcast.
Peace on earth. Thanks so much for having me on, Joe. I'm honored to be on and communicate with you.
Well, I would like to start off by talking about the geometry of energy. I got this really awesome book, like probably the best book on sacred geometry on my birthday, because I was saying it was Amanda Amendala's birthday. She sent me this book by Robert Lawler called Sacred Geometry, Philosophy, and Practice. And dude, this book really opened my eyes, and I'm still kind of reading into it now. And it has a practice where it kind of, opens your eyes to the fact that geometry is a real power behind things. It's like a metaphysical code that's behind a lot of things that never really got considered in modern day science, but it's definitely there, especially like things like our DNA and other things like that. Is that what you kind of go into when you speak about the geometry of energy? Or I'll just let you kind of go into that.
I was obsessing, some might say, or delving into the idea or ideas related to the Matrix of Four, and that being uniting science and spirituality, and also uniting the diversity of humanity, where generally people like to box up different cultures, different modalities, and different perspectives and philosophies. The Matrix of Four is arguably based on mathematics, and all of mathematics is based on arithmetic, the four operations of arithmetic. And the four operations are in a duality of polarity, as I call it. And there's also 4 dimensions of geometry, that being points, lines, planes, and solids. And with my near, practically infinite obsession with the matrix of 4, those 2 being really significant mathematical sets of 4, I was on the classical metaphysical journey and ended up in what I joke is the spiritual armpit of the United States, Sedona, Arizona. And
oh man, I thought that was Pine Bluff, Arkansas, not Sedona.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you know better than I do. No, Sedona is awesome, and it's beautiful, and it's incredibly spiritual place with incredibly friendly folks. And I came across the idea that revealed to me the correlation between meditation and energy comprehension and the 4 dimensions of geometry, that being, again, points, lines, planes, and solids. One of the initial sets of 4 that I realized was not only obsessively in correspondence, but was practically certain correspondence with the 4 dimensions of geometry is the 4 suits of the tarot, and the tarot being an example of a spiritual set of lessons and a divination practice. But the suits of the tarot are the swords, which correlate with the points, and the wands or staffs, which obviously correlate with the lines, and the pentacles or coins that correlate with the planes, and the cups, which correlate with the geometrical measurement of volume. So, and several meditation practices have this set of 4, either subtly or directly in their instructions. And so I realized that the geometry of energy, geometry being a simply measurement of earth, the understanding of the physical, and the sacred geometry being an understanding of the metaphysical, I realized that the 4 dimensions of geometry were a way to not only understand but enhance one's meditation practice, and also kind of gain a little bit of intuition comprehension as well.
So did you say it's points, planes, volume, and angles? I probably got that wrong.
It's no, that's okay. I'm despite how I understand the metaphysical of the mathematical, I'm horrible at math. I get it. It's points, lines, planes, and solids.
And solids.
And think about it, and think about it like this: that each dimension requires the prior dimension. Sometimes layers thereof or facets thereof. But you cannot have a line without points, perhaps an infinite series of points. You cannot have a plane without lines, perhaps, again, an infinite series of lines. And you cannot have a volume without walls or planes, if you will. Right? So each geometrical aspect is required to build to the next geometrical aspect.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So the book that you wrote, The Geometry of Energy, How to Meditate. So you took these focuses on, is it like a meditative practice book that starts from the very basic things and you work your way up into like mandalas and stuff, or how does that book work?
Well, I don't focus on the visual as much as I focus on the principle. For instance, again, there's many meditation practices and many spiritual lessons that are made up of four. Some might say that this is a coincidental set, right? But again, like if you look at the swords to points, staffs to lines, pentacles or coins to planes, and cups to solids of tarot, those are correspondence in more than just number, as well as really like a big question, as you were asking earlier before I came on, I was listening. What is the point, right? Well, I like to say the point is to find the point, right? The meaning of life is to find meaning. And another big question that Buddha was presented and answered is, what is love? And each one of these four facets of love is required to build on the next quality of love, right? So you have love of self. This correlates with the point. Love for others. This is a connection, a line. Love for the happiness of others. This is the kind of community, circular kind of symbolism, and love for all things in equanimity, and this is the unity expansion or the volume. So Buddha puts forth four aspects of love that are really in line with the same geometrical principle of each one being required for the next level of love. In fact, if you just look at that for a second, first, love self. Okay, most people can claim they do that, right? Okay,
yeah.
But
everybody
really,
says, "Oh, I love myself," right? But it's a real project.
It's a very well said. It can be a project of infinite refinement, which leads to kind of the alchemical or meditative or hermetic concept that people generally don't like to do. Is refinement needs repetition.
That's right.
So alchemy is not the refinement of gold is not a simple thing, and the refinement of our our authentic golden selves also. It's not a one time in and out. You gotta keep going. So the many different meditation practices and dimensional comprehension, spiritual, metaphysical lessons, all of a wide variety of groups, not just in Buddhism, point to the four dimensions of geometry subtly, right? They don't overtly suggest what I'm suggesting. So I'm making that correspondence. There's a certainty. But in another tradition of Kabbalah, actually one of their inspirations or suggestions that people practice is to find their own set of four. And this is because the tree of life is is based on four dimensions.
Worlds. Yeah, four worlds.
The four worlds of the Kabbalah, excuse me. Four worlds. And each one of the dimensions are in the spiritual sense more important, but because of our physical limitations is less perceptible, right? And so the origination is in the most subtle, which is, in line with many different concepts, but certainly in the points, lines, planes, and solids. Each one is required for the other.
Wow, it's fascinating to think about. And did all of this just come to you like at once? Did you get a so-called download, or was this through study and practice?
It was. So I question, if I get a download, I question myself, right? In the sense that, like, wait, is this what's going on here? It was specifically, I was at lunch with a girl who told me her meditation process that she had learned that, and I'm obsessed with 4, so it stuck out. And she told me that it was having to do with the Ezekiel story in the Bible, and it was a meditation from the Ezekiel process, which again, it's all about 4.
Did she use the 4 faces?
This biblical story and meditative teaching is about the 4 faces,
right,
and the 4 wheels. And the way she told it to me, I responded, wait, that sounds a lot like the 4 dimensions of geometry. And
right.
She was like, wait, what? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, and I only know it not because I'm decent at math, because of my obsession with 4. And so the conversation essentially moved on because it didn't really hit her as that profound. And I just was, that was my first nibble on the potential of the idea.
Well, she opened up the door for you, talking to you about that.
She told me about her Ezekiel meditation, and the way she told it to me, or the process itself rather, stuck out as being in correspondence with the 4 dimensions. And I tell you, the conversation shifted, but that night, I don't know if I was downloaded or haunted, but I was very bothered that night by this idea that I had to get this idea out there. And to my surprise, no one had really looked into the 4 dimensions as a metaphysical rather than physical concept.
Yeah, it's also, if you think about Western esotericism or occultism, or the Kabbalah, which is basically all of Western stuff, and the Holy Tetragrammaton, the Yod He Vav He,
Right.
all of magic is based on that 4-letter name too, which is a letter represents each world in the Kabbalah. It's pretty interesting.
It's a fascinating concept that, how much the idea of the matrix of 4 has revealed to me. It keeps on being something that allows me to perceive situations and lessons better, to be simple. So let's see. I forgot what I was about to say.
Also, in the tarot, the 4 is especially the 4 of Wands is the foundation. It's the number 4, like foundation and power too. It could literally be, have the Kabbalah, you have Kether, and then you make a point, and then you have a line, and then you have the first triad, and then that triad reflects upon itself. And then when you get into the middle of the Kabbalah, that's where you get your first 4, right? And that's the Christ-like power in the middle there. That's kind of when it first makes a 4 thing too. It's pretty cool.
And there's many times and systems where your expression and description there allow me to remember what I was going to say. That many times that there is a trinity. And it's often enough a trinity lacking or having an unsaid 4th part. And so we can see this in many places, but I mean, just for giggles, it's in correspondence with the idea of the four-leaf clover. Most things are in threes, but there's isn't there a fourth somewhere? Yeah, I'm sure there's a fourth. Where is it? Carl Jung several times is quoted to have said, yes, there's three, but where's the fourth? Because there's always the unsaid. And actually, one of the oldest symbols on the planet is the Ohm symbol. And it, of course, is based on four parts. It is so ultimately fascinating, and in correspondence with everything that we were just talking about. The Ohm symbol in vocalization has the A, U, M sounds. There's three. Where's the fourth? The fourth sound is noted to be silence. And in its visual expression, there's the two lines that are pointed to the left, and these symbolize waking and dream state. Sometimes I get the states mixed up of which ones they symbolize, excuse me. But there's the waking and dream state, and there's the deep awakening and deep dreaming. There is the third state that not everyone goes through on a day-to-day basis, like waking and dreaming states, but that is in the zone, if you will, where martial artists or people in situations experience things going slowly, and they're able to do things they don't normally have the ability to do. And that's the third state. And I kind of best way to exemplify it is that athletic or artistic zone, that ability to do amazing things with minimal effort. And the fourth state is in line with the silence or unsaid, and that is Buddhahood or Christ consciousness. And it is the dot, it is the point behind the veil. All right, this expression, when you pierce the veil or get to the point behind the veil, that comes from the Ohm symbol more than likely, because that's the fourth aspect. And when you cross the sea of Mara, or when you stop fighting yourself, right? Because who's your biggest opponent sometimes?
Oh, it's always yourself.
It's Ethan for me, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah. And so when we can enable an even higher state of consciousness that most all of us can relate to in the zone type of place, if we can enable an even higher unfettered state than really we can imagine, even though we're imagining it now, that's the point, right? So the oldest symbol on the planet has the four states of consciousness, very much in it. And also in its vocalization and its principle. So it's right there all the time.
That's really fascinating, man, how you saw that too. And we're at the top of the hour too. We got to take our first break here, but I'm into this stuff and into energy. I've also looked into biogeometry too as well, but yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk to you about when we come back. Ethan Indigo Smith, our guest. You can go to the website, geometryofenergy.weebly.com, also the matrixof4.weebly.com, and check out his books on Amazon, or search Ethan Indigo Smith on Facebook too, if you want to follow along while you're listening to the show. We'll be right back. More Lighting the Void coming up. Stay with us.
FM listeners, did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
Want to know what's on the Fringe FM? Check out our schedule at thefringe.fm.
Hola, Fringe listeners. This is Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to The Fringe FM.
This is Mallorca's 45, fan of the Fringe FM, challenging everyone to open their mind's eye. Listen to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop to gain precision for your third eye vision.
My name is Jake. I'm from Billings, Montana, and I am a void walker.
Hey, Joe Roop. Thanks for lighting the void. This is Janine in the bluegrass of Kentucky, and I am a void walker.
What's up, guys? This is Damien from San Marcos, Texas, and I'm a void walker. I listen to the show to keep myself aligned with the world.
Hi, this is Laura, aka Laura Lavender. I'm from Las Vegas, and I listen to Lighting the Void because it helps me understand some of the strangest experiences I've had. So thanks for all that you do and for always being there for us, Joe.
Hi, this is Kronox from Belgium, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
Hey, this is country music singer and void walker Jason Benoit, and when I need my fix on the world of magic and the capabilities of the human consciousness, I listen to Joe Roop right here on Lighting the Void Radio.
Born out of the alchemical tradition of Paracelsus is a medical tradition called Spagyria. Though not many people practice this work today, Phoenix Aurelius has been researching and teaching this work for the last 15 years, and he needs your support.
Hi, I'm Phoenix Aurelius, and I'm the founder of the Phoenix Aurelius Research Society, where I perform modern scientific research on the methods and techniques of Paracelsian alchemy and Spagyria for health, wellness, agriculture, ecology, and more. All my work is 100% funded by the public, so if you like what I'm doing and you want to support my research, please consider making a purchase of spagyric medicines from my apothecary, fund your own spagyric IDF wellness research, or participate in my group study or one-on-one immersion courses so that you can learn how to perform this work for yourself. I want to thank you in advance for your support.
Visit thefringe.fm/alchemy research and enter coupon code FRINGE and receive 15% off anything and everything on the website. That's thefringe.fm/alchemy research. And thank you for doing your part and keeping alchemy alive in the modern day.
Welcome back to Lighting the Void. In the world of metaphysics and into the ether, the places that we can't see, and all of nature lies energy, geometry, and all kinds of cool things that make up our reality. And tonight, we're talking about these things with Ethan Indigo Smith, who wrote the book Matrix of Four, also the geometry of energy. And once again, thank you so much for coming on the broadcast. It's good to have you here.
Yes, yeah, awesome to be here.
So, once you were discussing how you came into this knowledge before, or the download that you had. Well, once you came into this, how did you learn to meditate with it, or how? I guess what I'm asking is, how do we perceive this now as energy, right? That we understand it.
Right. Well, as I guess a lot of it was an intuitive recognition of perhaps what these symbols or concepts in their most basic, revealed. So a point to me symbolizes concentration. Right. And so I guess I was also able to make the following, actually quite a bit of this I was able to grasp because in Tai Chi and other meditation practices that I had learned, these wordings were put forth already, and ideas were put forth already, but they were not put forth in relation to geometry. That's where I was able to find the set of four often enough in these meditation practices. For instance, with the Tai Chi practice, we imagine finding our center, our dantian, our center point, literally the point, and dantian means core, but it's often enough imagined as a point below our belly button. And we imagine making connection through our crown and our root with the earth and through these energy lines, and then cycling, making circles, cycling the energy, and then connecting with it's not even a focus on connecting. It's kind of the result of doing that is enhanced what I call perimeter awareness. Whether that perimeter is physical, smaller and farther, or metaphysical, smaller and farther, if you will. And as I was noting before, how the Buddhist concept of love has the point as love yourself, the line as love others, the circle as love for the happiness of others, and then love for equanimity. What I found was it was a way to really comprehend meditation in a really individualized manner, because you could see I think the inspiration came that one could see that it was an energetic system despite the different descriptions often enough. So, we use these energetic symbolic understandings or relationships in our language a lot via expressions and just kind of symbolic understandings. Connection is good. That's and connection can be symbolized by a line. But being barred in, that's not good. Being boxed off, you know what I mean? Putting walls up rather than bridges across. These are kind of geometrical, symbolic but energetic relationships. It really, the geometry of energy is a manner to comprehend the meditation process, which really is, whether it's called one thing or another, is ultimately that feeling of, or even perception mindset of unity expansion, where our perimeter awareness is expanded to where we completely relate to others, right? Where we're not, please.
Well, if you look into when you look at manifestation, you can see that work too. The only other thing that I would ask about is curves, right? And I guess you get curvature from light and sound and all that stuff. But really what you're talking, when energy, if you look at the spiral and you look at all the different geometrical shapes and things that are in nature, like for example, even the DNA helix, right? I mean, it starts from a point, then makes lines, and then once it gets to these lines, points, and planes, right, then it always ends up curving in some way and starts a pattern. It seems like energy kind of does that in nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, beautifully said. And the ultimate energy is spiraling energy. I conceptualize some other things through the number 108, but in a way, it is a 108 is a widely celebrated number, and it's the number of beads on the japa mala, the prayer beads of the East, and has many numerological and symbological reverence and power, if you will. But it illustrates what you were kind of just suggesting. It has the line in the 1, and it has the circle in the 0, and it has the spiral in the 8. And so there's also the unsaid point, and the point being invisible. So there's also so many ways to move. You can be still. You can move linearly, you can move circularly, and the ultimate martial applicable movement, and usually athletic applicable movement, is spiraling. So it does correspond what you're saying with a lot of the energetic kind of understandings or reference that I think is. I don't want to say.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I mean, I remember in high school, it was like I would say my sophomore year, I won district in discus, right? But I was only like 205 pounds, but I was the smallest discus thrower and still won district. But what I realized in that circle is the tighter and more balanced you kept how, I don't know if anybody's ever seen anybody throw a discus, but it's the spiral, right? So you start at a point with your foot, because you're talking about athletics, in the middle of the circle. And when you pivot on that foot, the more perfect you make it in 2 steps, as well as your shoulders and your feet, the more torque you get with your hips. And if you make it all come out perfect, it releases on the point of your finger. And it's really has nothing to do with strength and power. It's all about making sure that your geometry lines up perfectly and balanced, and it goes all the way out to that centrifugal force to your finger.
That is so beautiful, Joe. That your discus tai chi. It is. I just watched someone doing that the other day, and it's so impressive. And you're right. It's all about being in the spiral with balance. And sometimes that's tricky, especially for the neophyte, and with a technique like that. And then the same thing applies for social and situational predicaments. We want to be in balance in a spiraled structure, and that's generally is a little bit tricky. Your description there is exactly. I like to use Tai Chi as a verb. You Tai Chi'd it.
Yeah. And I was like, 50 pounds lighter than everybody. Right, they had some really big dudes out there, but I got the gold medal just because I realized that it really wasn't about strength. It was about keeping that thing as symmetrical as possible and building up as much force as possible. And the more symmetrical your body was as it moved and stayed in that circle evenly and balanced, the more torque it created. Right, it was crazy. It's just like an engine.
No,
you know?
yeah. This is a beautiful analogy that you can run with, or take to a lot of different places, because it's a perfect analogy in the spiral, and yet you have to have the linear structure as you're spinning in a circle. I was going to say, and actually, you also are making really micro changes towards high efficiency, right? In something like that. And Tai Chi and meditation and spiritual concepts, they may not say this, but Tai Chi, I think, says this, but they don't necessarily always relate it to quantum physics and magic, which you brought up earlier in the show. So I wanted to say about the micro changes that can manifest in what is almost magical results, but it's really just natural. It's just natural results. Think about the microscopic changes that you can make, and that's what quantum physics really is talking about, is the micro, really, really, really small stuff, right? So through meditation or meditative movement, we can make, say, changes to, 0.5% of the particulate in a particular space. And does that cause other changes?
Yeah, it does,
right?
because
So
it creates, like you're saying, like an efficient, it creates efficiency, right? The more you do that.
And then all of a sudden you're the guy that people are going, how is he doing that?
Yeah, I remember too, the coach from Benton, he was like,
right.
what be your furthest throw, Roop? And then I was like, I don't know, about 160, 170. He's like, oh my God. Cause he was, just wondering what was happening. And it was, you talk about the micro stuff, right? Well, I spent 3 weeks. I got really obsessed with it. I spent 3 or 4 weeks just on the footwork, and then another 3 or 4 weeks on my shoulders and hips, and then another 3 or 4 weeks putting it all together, and then a week on my release, because I knew like you're talking about, each little part, the more I perfected it, the more torque I was going to get,
Oh, that's great. That makes me want to practice. And they say the difference between the master and the beginner is the master has failed 10,000 more times than the beginner has even tried, right?
I take that approach in everything, bro.
It's the best way. It's the best way.
Right.
It's the best way to learn.
I'll get it next time.
And you cherish the micro muscle confusion. You cherish wait, that's not quite right. You cherish the refinement in repetition, because you realize that, everyone has to fail, so quote unquote, for lack of a better term, to be successful. I have to figure out the wrong way in order to really refine the right way a lot of times.
Yeah. And it's the things too, that like failure is kind of off the geometrical path, but there's a reason why we call it hurt and pain and stuff, because that failure, it sticks. So you remember it, right? So you learn your lesson.
Yeah.
I wish we could do that about success. We if we could train our bodies and our lives to learn from success and the feelings of success better than we do the feelings of failure, I think the universe would give us more success than it did failures,
Yeah, and perhaps have a different notion of success too, right? We're so boxed in, we're so linear in our approaches in the world often enough, that just adding a little bit of circular softness, right? As really kind of, you're talking about, not that throwing a discus kind of, it seems like to anyone that has any softness in it, right? But there's a certain way to be balanced, that if you add too much, there's tension and you don't get it quite right. Right? So you have to, it's like in basketball, you're dealing with 6 foot, 7 foot dudes, but you have to have a touch when you take the shot. It's got to be soft. So just soft enough, right? To not just bounce.
Oh, we're getting into the sports stuff now. It's like the golf swing too, right? Same thing.
All of it has exactly. And if you golf too, for me, in my shallow experience with golf, if I focus too much, I get less accuracy. If I focus just enough, it goes exactly where I want.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. I'm a neophyte golfer, but it's almost like it's laughable when it goes right. But if you try to, you try too hard, and it just doesn't work. Just doesn't work, right?
Yeah, like that's a lot of times when it's funny too. They're trying to teach you the basics when you first start learning a swing, and then you get frustrated, right? And another guy comes up there and says, "Listen, just don't think about anything. Just go up there and just hit the ball. That's it."
Yeah.
And then you go up there and hit the ball and just drill it, right? You're like, "What happened?" Well, you're thinking about it too much, you know?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. The Tibetans have an expression: if you have an impulse, go for it. And that almost seems like counterintuitive.
That hasn't quite worked out. I mean, it's worked out for me. I'm definitely that way. I promise you.
That's exactly, when he told me that expression, I was like, that never really helped me.
No.
He's like, has it? Has it not? Has it? And I'm like, well, and the first thing I thought of, I'm trying to go back, I thought of when I felt like getting really close to the warmth of the stove. That did not work out. And he's like, yeah, but now do you do it?
Yeah,
No.
Exactly, right? Yeah, so you learned that lesson.
Now I know to not get too close to hot things. Okay, I see. Right, so if you have an impulse, go for it. We should learn to refine our impulses. And we will. Right? The more we touch a hot stove, we go, oh, I don't have that impulse.
Dude, that's the story of my life, is learning to refine. Well, the story of my life is repetition, try again, refine the impulse, refine the impulse, refine the impulse. That's been the story of my life, pretty much.
Yeah.
But that's a hell of a lot better, I would think, than living in, fear and getting what you call boxed in, right? Like, you can't do that. You start stifling yourself and your life and energy, and life is the energy. Like, I watched a video today about desire. It's like Teal Swan talked about it, desire, like life is fulfilled desire. You didn't come here to experience unfulfilled desire. You came here to learn the processes of them. You're not going to learn anything if you don't go for what you want,
Yeah, and I was thinking about that earlier too, how Buddha, he's the story of the guy who had everything, right?
Yeah.
He's a prince of a kingdom in Nepal. Like, I mean, that sounds pretty kick-ass, right? But of course, there's a lot more to the world, even to someone who has everything. And ultimately, he starts to, I think, go through, I forget who said this, but a life unexamined is a life not worth living, right? So exactly. you have everything, and that's cool. But wait, what else, right, is what ends up happening eventually, even to the Prince of Nepal, or who, it doesn't necessarily matter who you are, but eventually even that wonderful experience will ultimately lead to questioning what else is there.
You know how I was talking to you about this book, the Sacred Geometry book too? Have you ever wondered why, like, so when you look at molecules and atomic structures, you see perfect shapes in there. It could be pentagons, it could be hexagons or octagons, when you look at these formulas and stuff. And even in college, at college level, stuff, chemistry and all that, they talk about the bonds and the particles and everything, but there is no study of those geometrical patterns. Not really. They never hold any importance as to why those geometrical patterns are there. Ever. They don't even talk about it. Isn't that weird? And yet it makes up everything in our reality.
It is weird. You're right. It is very weird. It seems like something so consistent that people would someone in a scientific fashion would look into that type of thing. Something that's so consistent. In some facets they have looked into shapes like that, but not in depth to what we're talking about. But I think to answer why, I think it's that everything is under the influence of that constant vibration. And it's the same vibrational influence, whether small or large. Right?
Well, right. That they keep trying to smash atoms together and find dark matter, and they cannot fathom the idea that a shape it could just be a metaphysical shape in existence that can't be seen by the eye. They just don't get it. They just keep smashing particles together. Well, this is the smallest physical thing we can see with a microscope, and we got this super other powered microscope. Meanwhile, they're blazing through geometrical shapes and they don't even realize it. You understand what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
They're like, well, that doesn't matter, but where's the dark matter? And it's like, maybe we should study this other stuff, the metaphysics of it all.
Yeah, and it leads to the question, like, can a computer be intuitive? Even if it's an AI machine, can it be intuitive in that they've done experiments similar to the light particle wave slit experiment, but in other capacities where they found that they could change the starlight instantly via their matter of perception.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's cool. That's cool.
It was a manner that was going beyond space and time. Forgive my poor explanation, but so it suggested kind of we're like a greasy AI. we're like
AI. Well, that's kind of what happened when Google and Facebook turned on their first algorithms. If anybody remembers like that, they didn't really know what was going to happen, but it just started doing all kinds of stuff on its own. They had to they say they shut it off.
Right.
But.
Well, and in the sense that we have the ability to input through our perception that changes how light seems to move, which just leads to all kinds of, like Einstein said, like the spooky science, right? It just kind of doesn't add up or make sense to when you're just looking at the very physical structure of things and not say, like, what's the vibrational correspondence here that is enabling that to happen beyond, in a facet that just shouldn't seem to work that way, beyond the time constraints. But if like going back to the quantum physics and meditation, if we can change a small portion of particles, including those within our body, maybe those just near us, we can have those particles might change particles and systems and energetics around us. So
yeah, I'm with you on that.
Even this whole way that we measure energy itself, right? There's the particles and waves, right? These are points and lines, right? That are interacting through planes, and the planes are there's volumes among the planes, right? So the planes being strata of existence, the atmosphere, the solar system, the void, if you will,
the void,
water, and so on. So there's all these ways that the four kind of comes up, whether scientific or metaphysic.
Yeah, it is. You got me thinking about the number 4 too, the matrix of 4. It's a pretty trippy thing.
Yeah.
We gotta take our last break here, guys. But we'll open up the phone lines too if you want to call in and ask any questions to our guests. 1-800-588-0335. Stay with us.
Radio, then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The truth is out there, and so are we. KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Want to support Lighting the Void? Just go to lightingthevoid.com, sign up on our membership page, and pick your package where you can get exclusive content, readings, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Also, check out the LTV shop where you can get your very own altar box, t-shirt, shack, hoodie with sigil, Roswell-style t-shirt, racerback tees, socks, long-sleeve shirts, stickers, and beanies. Keep Lighting the Void airing 5 nights a week by going to lightingthevoid.com and support today.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
Lighting the Void and the Esoteric Scholar present the Altar Box, crafted and designed for magicians by magicians. Now you can take your practice with you. This beautifully handcrafted mobile altar opens and works as an altar for any of your spiritual, religious, or ritual practices. Made to travel and work in small spaces, the Altar Box comes with hidden compartments for your practice tools and accessories. The Altar Box also comes with a dark scrying mirror for scrying and reverses and fits perfectly also as a chalkboard for any sigil, symbol, or whatever you see fit to sketch. The Altar Box was
handcrafted to carry as a small suitcase, so you may take your practice with you, and the hinges are made with solid material and hinged with leather and rivets for extra strength. The mirror piece and floor plate fit perfectly when closed, so no movement will happen. Use it in small places as well. You can practice meditation, magic, planetary magic, sigil magic, scrying, ritual. Never be without your practice tools again, no matter the setting or where you go. And this season, give the gift of magic for yourself or your loved one by grabbing your altar box. Was $249.99, now $199.99. The sale ends January 1st, 2021. Just go to lightingthevoid.com/altar box and get yours while the sale lasts.
I don't know all the answers to the questions about reality. I do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of a family of explorers of consciousness. I am a void walker. Hey, this is Macon, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Root.
All right, welcome back. 1-800-588-0335. If you want to call in and talk to our guest tonight, right here on LTV Radio. We're live on Fringe.fm. Make sure you stay tuned for the Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable. The Fringe Late Nights, where it's at. Fringe.fm. That's the network. Lightingthevoid.com is our website. And our guest tonight, pretty deep conversation, man. This is the stuff I like. Good to sit around campfires and talk about forever. You know, a lot of stuff that you came, what you were talking about in Tai Chi earlier too. I did that once and people swear by it, but I wonder how, you know, I had a guy tell me doing Tai Chi and learning what you were talking about, the efficiency of the geometry and the movement. Actually said he lost like 60 pounds doing that stuff. And I thought, man, you would have to do a lot of Tai Chi to lose a lot of weight. Does it actually burn fat doing that stuff?
Well, no, I don't know about that. It's one of these things that is a balancer, right? So if you're frail, it's maybe you'll put on some weight. If you're overweight, yeah, you probably lose some weight. So Tai Chi is all about balance. And just like in the sense that the Yin Yang symbol, which of course has 4 parts, by the way.
Yeah.
The Yin Yang symbol is in Chinese not known as the Yin Yang symbol. It's the Tai Chi made up of Yin Yang, major and minor Yin Yang. So it's actually a modality for balance and growth, right? Because just like a tree, what does a tree want to do? It wants to grow. When it's balanced, it can. Same thing with people. When people get to a certain place, we might find a plateau. And maybe if we just refine our balance, we can rise up in that plateau. And that may sound cheeky, but it's really true. If we have balance, we're better off to be able to refine.
You know, it's funny too. I see your books here. The Tao of Thoth is $8.88. The Geometry of Energy is $7.70. I like that. Talk to me about the Tao of Thoth, though. I mean, I'm interested. The name itself has got me interested.
Yeah, well, I practice and teach Tai Chi, which is really a practice of self-development, which so is Hermeticism and arguably the internal arts of alchemy, or a lot of the philosophies that they were said to be pursuing. So the Tao of Thoth, I bring together East and West pursuits of self-development in principle and practice. So I present 8 set of principle and practice instead of 7, but in similar tone and fashion that the Kybalion puts forth in its 7. So what I found was I was actually, because of my obsession with numerology and sets of 4 and sets of numbers, I could, in looking at things the way I looked at sets of 4, I could see that there were several instances where there was 7 with an unsaid 8 in different metaphysical lessons and instructions and so forth. And also there were many concepts with outright overt 8. The most significant related to Tai Chi is Bagua, which are the 8 trigrams, 8 3-line symbols around the Yin Yang Tai Chi symbol. If you can imagine. So the Bagua it means set of 8. And I was thinking that there was a missing, and of course there could be, there are many others, but I was thinking that there's an 8th tenet that brings together the 7.
Gotcha.
And so I was looking at it to find this Eastern and Western link through the 8. And gotcha. I found, of course, in the East, there's the Bagua. And in the West, in the Mediterranean, in Egypt and Greece, there's the Ogdoad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And the original Ogdoad, which simply means set of 8, just like Bagua means, both of those words just mean set of 8. The original Ogdoad was of the 8 meters, which is where we get the word nature, and that just means the 8 elements, which the Bagua also symbolizes, the 8 elements.
Okay.
And I was bringing all that together through teachings and practice of Tai Chi and the Kybalion and Hermetics lessons, and listening to Manly P. Hall and Mark Passio. And then I learned that the city of Thoth is named Hermopolis, of course. This is where the Greeks get their Thoth energy, God idea, being, if you will, from this name of the cities, Hermes. The name of the city, Hermes. Name of the god from the city Hermopolis, which is Hermes. Excuse my stuttering.
Gotcha.
And Hermopolis means city of 8. So the Thoth city is not related to 7, but literally is related to 8. That being the 8 meters. So I explore. With that set of idea, I explore Eastern and Western internal arts of self-development.
Did you know that that's also the 8th sphere on the Kabbalah is the sphere of splendor and Mercury, and corresponds with the god of Hermes and Thoth in the Kabbalah?
Okay, I am not familiar with that. I am familiar with Thoth having the mercurial correlation, and that being symbolic for why he's the God that goes in the earthly realm and out into the heavenly realm with ease. Right?
Yeah.
He's the mercurial one and unique among the gods as it goes for being able to do that.
Let's this is fascinating stuff. Let's go to the phones here. We got 778 area code. You're on the air with Ethan Indigo Smith. Who are we speaking with?
Hey, it's Allie. How are you guys doing?
Hey, what's up, Allie?
So I have a question, and first of all, this is a great show. It's super interesting. And okay, so my question, I am hoping to see if you can have some insight on this, because I think that it might be related to just like geometry and like frequencies and all that. So I don't know if you're familiar with there's an experiment, a Japanese experiment that is based on rice. So what you do is you put rice in 3 separate bowls or like 3 separate containers, and you have to give like different intentions to it. So one is like love, the other one is neutral, and the other one is like hate or just negativity in general. So like every day you go and like say something to these bowls of rice, right? And the point is that I did the experiment and I was super impressed because actually it worked. And I don't think it was just like wishful thinking or anything. I think it actually did get affected by my thoughts. And so my question is, do you think that maybe geometry in a way, like the frequency that you're emitting while you are, let's say, talking to this rice or just thinking about something, holding this rice, does it have to do with geometry in a way that maybe the way that the rice decomposes gets affected? Like, is it related to geometry in any way? Like, could it be?
Well, thank you so much. That's such an awesome question. And it goes to what we were talking about the quantum potential to impart our internal into the external. So it is geometrical in the sense that, everything at its most basic is. But I think it suggests to me, why is Thoth known as the sacred geometer, the measurer, and also the master of words? Words are creational, right? Words have a cause and effect, right? So, but what is behind the words is our consciousness, right? So I think it goes to why the the master of geometry, Thoth, is also the master of communication and words, because it's that expressive of potentiation and creation.
I think I could be wrong about this, but didn't the rice have different geometrical shapes in it, based like the love one had beautiful geometrical shapes and the hate one kind of had some distorted, weird looking shapes? I don't know if I'm right about that or not. I know which experiment you're talking about. I just can't think of the guy's name.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it was.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there are 2 different experiments, even also one with water, or
right.
two different sets of experiments rather, one with water and one with rice. And the rice, even that experienced positivity, it stayed good longer, right? It was where the other stuff turned rotten. But yeah, the water did have somewhat apparent or super apparent geometrical balance with the ideas that were more conducive to well-being.
Yeah, Dr. Emoto, that's the guy that did the study. I can't ever think of the guy's name. I get him and Miyoto Musashi mixed up, and he's the author of the Book of 5 Rings, so I don't know why I get those 2 mixed up.
I totally was thinking of Miyoto Musashi too.
Yeah, it's Masaru Emoto that did that experiment. Yeah, and definitely
had geometrical shapes come out in the water experiments too, for sure. So, the more like the compassion looked like a beautiful snowflake, and thank you had certain geometrical shapes to it, and the truth looked like a beautiful star, and joy. And there was all kinds of different shapes for different things. It's kind of cool because like geometry shapes, it creates our world, and they even say that the Masons, that's what the G stood for. A lot of people think it's God, but if you look at the square and compass and then put the G there, I mean, geometry kind of like makes up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's the power of our consciousness in our facilitation of our thought, and that comes through in our word, right?
Yep.
Or how we posture ourselves physically throughout the day, how we walk, right? When we add consciousness to an action, whether it's a mantra or just a statement, we can really make it potentialize a refinement, right? Like, I wash the dishes. I meditate when I wash the dishes. How can you do that? Oh, I just do, right? Like, okay, well, yes, some people can do that. Some people, that's their space because they just go to that place, right?
Right.
But really behind the skipping the stone or washing the dishes or meditating and with a mantra is our consciousness. And that is refined too, also, I mean to say, through repetition, practicing, right? Our consciousness is really powerful. And then imagine if we practice it.
Yeah.
Practice utilizing it, I should say.
Right.
Excuse me.
Well, thanks for your call, Ellie. Great questions. Thank you.
Yeah, great question, Ellie.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Peace.
All right, let's see. 214 area code. You're on the air with Ethan Indigo Smith. Who are we speaking with?
This is Ben Howell. Bruce Lee said, "Be as water." Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
That was a good call from Ali, wasn't it?
Be like water. Yeah.
I have a question for your guest. You mentioned the Yin Yang, and you said it was the Tang Chi or something in China, or something.
It's
okay. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I meant to preclude this by saying gematria is a study for life, and it's fascinating that you are doing it with the Western and the Eastern because that's highly needed. And then I was going to address the Yin Yang. Okay. And on the Yin Yang, I just wanted to ask you, have you ever considered that as a clock, the regular Yin Yang symbol? It's supposed to be the oldest symbol known to man. But if you place a dot in the center of that circle and put a minute hand on it, okay, and then you take that and move the minute hand around, you'll see as it fades out of the larger white areas and going towards the tail that it's picking up the larger black areas, and then you go around that and it comes back around and then you're back into the white majority, and then the white trails off, and to me it represents like cycles. And,
absolutely.
And
you smoked a joint and stared at a clock for a while, didn't you, Brent?
No. I put this out like on a piece of graph paper, and it shows cycles exactly. Yeah.
No. This is stone. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the world is made up of hundreds of thousands or whatever of cycles, all kinds of cycles.
Yeah.
And when you do that, like it's a clock, you can see where one is descending and one is rising, and but it's in an exponential kind of pattern.
Right.
It's a mutual arising, co-arising flow. And actually, not only was the yin yang, the Tai Chi symbol, said to be inspired due to observing the natural flow of time. If you look at it, it's more, you can definitely see the cycle of the day, the wane of daylight and lack of light, but it more specifically shows the four seasons, right? When the summer is most high, it then starts to eclipse, right? And that turns into fall. And that turns into the most high of the colder, the yin, right? And as soon as that gets to its most proportional, it starts to eclipse. And so the yin yang symbol, it has not only time, but the seasons as well. And another concept of the duality of polarity, or matrix of four, or vibration of the universe, is that all things in orbit it results in a four seasonal flow.
Yeah, that's what I think when he was saying, have you ever looked at a clock and saw that? That's, I was joking about the weed thing, by the way, but a lot of people do get very big downloads with weed. I know I do. But anyways, you could, if you start looking at it that way, I wonder if that's how the clock even got created, based on that symbol. It could be.
Sure. Well, it kind of started with the sundial, right? And the sundial may have expanded into all the types of places that are like Stonehenge, with different markings for the seasonal cycle of that. One little neat Taoist story about the Tai Chi inspiration is that a man was watching the shady and sunny side of the mountain and valley, and from there he was inspired to and could see the yin yang.
Well, thank you for your call, Brent. Appreciate it, brother. We only got a couple of minutes left here, and so good calls. And so you wrote, actually, I was looking on your Amazon page here. You wrote actually a lot of books. A lot.
Yeah,
of books,
I wrote a couple books. I try to sell a couple too, but that's harder.
Yeah, but that's really good though. So your journey, so when you went on this journey, you just wrote books along the way, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
That's pretty cool.
I always wanted to be a writer. I should have been a poet, but now I'm just a struggling metaphysics author.
Right. Well, hey, the struggle is real in some way. We're all struggling with something, right? But that's like you said, the journey. Earlier, if you can, since we only got a couple minutes left, do you want to give out any links that I didn't mention, or any social media links or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the usual social media. My books are on Amazon. And I have written quite a few. I think your guess would be into the Tao of Thoth and the geometry of energy the most. Those seem to be most widely popular. But yeah, I'm out there. I love it when people communicating with me, so don't hesitate to reach out on the usual platforms and so on.
Fantastic. I'll hit them up on social media. Have a good conversation, and thanks, man. Thanks again for coming on the broadcast, dude. It was a really cool conversation.
I bow to you for giving me the platform on this, on your astute show.
Absolutely. We'll do it again too, brother, when you get time. What do you think?
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm down whenever.
You guys, we're going to get out of here. Stay tuned for the Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time, live right here on Fringe.fm. Good night. Sweet dreams.